Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have our friend and fellow Long Islander, Marian Edmondson, joining us, coloring our world. Yeah, we'll say it that way. She's, been on the show quite a few times, and she's really inspiring us. Let me have her do the honors. Please introduce yourself and company, darling.
Oh, thank you so much, Jill. It's always good to be here with you. Thanks for having me back. So I'm Marian Edmondson. I'm an executive and life coach, a strength-based executive and life coach. And the name of my company is Color Your Strengths. And yes, the goal is to color your world in a very authentic way, right? But through your strengths, leaning into what you do best. And so I work with people and partner with folks who are often in transition of some kind. And that can mean, you're thinking about entering into a new role, maybe having a career pivot, maybe you're recently promoted or, recently let go from an opportunity, unfortunately, and
Yeah.
now exploring different directions or paths and what's next for you, all of which can really play with our minds a little bit and affect our self-confidence. We may second guess ourselves, wonder if we have what it takes to do what's next or to try something new. But leaning into your strengths and discovering your strengths is a really great way to help set yourself up for success. So that's what I do.
Beautifully said. And also because, she's so modest, she is an ICF certified coach, Gallup certified strengths coach. So she does have the training. I know a lot of people are coaches, but some don't have that behind them and they have the experience, but you have both. So I'm excited that you're back with us
Thank you.
talking, and we're going to learn more about the type of coaching and training that you do. And what did you want to kind of talk about for today?
Yeah, just how our strengths can help us. And I'll be honest with you, I did not realize that I had my own strengths just until when I became Gallup certified.
Mhm.
That going through that process really helped me to understand what I was naturally talented in. I knew that there were things that came a little easier to me, right? But that's everyone. And that's typically what people say when they think about their natural talents and their strengths. Oh, but everybody has something that they can just do easily. But that, honing in on what that actually is the way in which you can create that and turn that into a strength and make it a superpower for yourself. So when I became certified, I discovered that my top five strengths were strategic and still are strategic, competition, connectedness, relator, and intellection. And I will tell you that growing up and maybe even, 5 years prior to taking the assessment, I would not have thought that strategic and intellection would have been in my top five. It just was something I never thought of myself as. Like many people, I, grew up one of two people in my household, one of two children, siblings, and I was not the overachiever or the high achiever. I was the one that was always told I was naturally smart and gifted, but didn't really get the great grades and all of that in school. And so I didn't think of myself as being someone who could be a strategic thinker or someone who was intellectual by nature. But the more that I learned about my natural talents and my strengths through the Clifton Strengths Report, the more I started to really own it and say, that is me. That is me. That is how I show up actually on a daily basis. And I have examples of how I do that, right? So I can give you examples. Strategic for
Yeah,
me
let's
looks
hear
like
it.
I'm a
Sure.
walking GPS.
Okay. Yep.
Right? Literally, I'm your walking GPS. I can find and myself, find a destination, find my way to a destination. No matter where you place me, I will find multiple different routes to get there. Even if I've only been there once before, I can tell you that there are multiple different ways to get there. And that's kind of how I see the world and how I see and look at problems and solutions to problems. I always see that there's many different ways in which we can approach a situation and ways in which we can solve a problem. So that's just an example of how strategic shows up for me. The intellection is the fact that I'm constantly reading multiple books and absorbing multiple information all at once, all the
Uh-huh.
time. But it's also what I do with that information. I like to process, reflect, think about it, and really take it in and absorb it, and then share my thoughts on it afterwards. So, this is just, I wanted to share with you just how it shows up when you're
Sure.
actually um, aware of what it is that you do naturally, so that when you see it at work and in action, you can then be more intentional about applying it towards
Okay.
your goal.
So
Yeah.
what does it look like? Explain it to us. You have all this knowledge
Okay.
that we're not all privy
You
to, but we can get it.
Well, let's say you have a goal. Let's say your goal is to switch careers,
Yeah.
that you've been working in one space for a really long time. Let's say HR, for example. I
Yep.
came from HR, and you say, I want to start my own business, but I don't know where to begin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling a little insecure about it. I feel like I know I'm this HR professional and this expert in many different spaces, and I can do the work, but how do I get the work, right? How do
Yeah.
I build a business? How do I manage a business and operate one? I've never done that before. And so thinking about what I'm naturally good at, which is, I'm a strategic person. So there are thinking about many different possibilities is helpful for someone like me. Saying, there's a lot of different ways in which I can achieve this goal, but which one is going to be best for me? So exploring all the possibilities is helpful for someone like me to then go through and say, okay, I choose that. I'm going to try that approach, right? Or I feel that comfortable that that's the right approach for me now that I've laid out multiple. Connectedness, I mentioned, is also a part of my top 5 strengths. So for me, that means connecting dots and building relationships, meeting people and figuring out what we have in common, but also how we can help one another, and how I can support you, how you can support me, but also how our work might potentially overlap and where we can fill gaps for each other. So that's how I can start to leverage my own strengths to think about ways in which I can show up in a new environment, doing a totally different job that I've never done before. No one can change the fact that it's a new job, right? Or that it's a new
True.
experience.
Yep.
That that it comes, that's par for the course. We're going to experience new things all the time. But when we have something that we can count on, which is ourselves, which is knowing that I know what I do well, I consistently do these things well, then I know that I can apply it to even something I've never done before, and it will still ensure a greater level of success than if I don't use those skills.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And if you are just tuning in, just want to remind you, we are here with Color Your Strengths. That's the name of the company. And our friend Marian Edmondson, and as a leadership consultant, as a coach, she's really guiding people through life, through executive decisions when it comes to work. But we are talking a little bit about the spring. The new is here, and that means sometimes we got to get rid of the old, or unfortunately, we are forced to change, whether it's a work situation, personal situation. It's just part of life. And she's here to really kind of guide us through, hold our hand, and, help us on this journey because it could be different for us. It could be that we're a little more one-minded and have narrow path and we don't see the other options that you could see, right? Everybody sees something different. And you have that experience when a lot of us might just tend to be like, no, I only know this. I only know how. So thank you for helping
Yeah.
us expand our horizons. And we'll continue the
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Go for it.
Yes. No, I love that you brought in the spring, and Jill. That's such a great analogy because spring is a time of renewal,
Sure is.
right?
Yeah.
It's a time of, the flowers are blooming, the birds are
Mm-hmm.
back, the trees are starting to, bear
So
leaves again,
pretty. Yep.
and it's a beautiful time of year. But it can also be, when is it coming? Inconsistent, right? Especially if you're a New Yorker like we are. You think spring is here, and then we get some cold weather and we're confused all over again.
How
And
nice was Saturday, right? Was
oh,
Saturday like amazing?
it was a dream. It was a dream. How
80
can we get more
degrees.
days like
Yes.
Saturday,
Coming up,
right?
coming soon to a
It's
theater
coming
near you. But
soon.
yeah, it is. It is.
Exactly. It's coming soon. And that's exactly what experiencing transition is like. We know that there's something new that we're experiencing. Some days it may feel really, really good, and other days it may feel really uncomfortable and not like the day before. And so, you wonder, should I go back and do what I know, or should I keep forward? And really trust in this change. And the goal is, and the goal is always to continue to move forward. But the truth of the matter is, if you step back, you're still experiencing change as well. You think you're going back to
Yep.
something that you know, but once you move past a thing, going back to it is never quite the same. Never quite the same. And so we tell ourselves, oh, I'm going to move forward, but I can always go back and fall back on this if I need to. But you're not really falling back, you're still falling
Yeah.
forward because it will still be different than it was before because you're different than you were before, right? And so taking that step forward towards what it is that you really want for yourself is important. And tapping into what you're naturally talented in and what you do best and trying to align the rest of your life with that is going to be your best opportunity for success.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that. And here we are, and spring is here. And I don't know, there's something to be said about the changing of the seasons. It depends where you're living. Maybe you're like in a cold place all the time, but I don't know. I kind of like this four seasons change, but I feel like there's more rejuvenation. But I wonder, is it like that in other places that are like cold all year or hot all year? Is spring like renewal, rejuvenation? I know with religion it could be, but like, right? Or is it just because we're here in the Northeast? I'm just
Great
curious. I never
point.
thought about that.
It's a really great point. It's a really great point. I'm not so sure that,
Yeah.
other people in other cities, that they clearly don't experience the symbolic and significant change in weather that we experience. But we all experience the cycle of the year, right? We know when Christmas is coming
Yeah.
every year,
Mm-hmm.
right? We know when the holidays will be here every year. We know when our birthday will come around every year because the year is cyclical. There are things that are going to happen at
Mm-hmm.
certain times within the year. And usually we associate that with something in our lives, even if the weather's not changing. Something
Hmm.
is changing,
Got it.
right?
And you're here
Yeah.
helping making changes happen. Anything new the past week since we spoke last? What other type of changes are you helping people with?
So, I find that this is a season in which people are really focused on starting new, trying to consider what they want to do next, whether it be at the phase they are in their
Mm-hmm.
life, their career. It is definitely a season of change.
Yeah.
And it's largely centered around careers, whether people are stepping into a new leadership opportunity and wanting to really be as authentic as they can as a leader and be the best leader that they know how to be, or thinking about changing their job. And a lot of the people that I'm working with right now are thinking, I don't want to do what I'm doing anymore. I want to do something different. And so we do the strengths work, and we start with the full 34 report, Clifton Strengths Report, which assessment, which I do with folks. And what that does is it gives you your 34 themes of talent, ranked order from 1 to 34.
Wow.
Right. And yeah, 1 through 5 being, and really 1 through 10 being your most dominant, meaning
Okay.
that's available to you every day. You use it. You use those themes of talent constantly throughout the day. You're not even thinking about it. It's just part of who you are. Right. And then somewhere between 11 and 25, there's a bunch of themes of talent in ranked order that are available to you and they are accessible. They're just on an as needed basis. You may draw on them and go, I need a little woo in my life today.
Yep.
Woo, by the way, stands for winning others over. And so whenever people see woo on the report, they go, what is this woo? I said, well, it means winning others over. And it's not a relationship building theme. It's actually an influencing theme. So you may see it in a lot of sales folks, people who have to get in and make connections very quickly with people, get people to like them, want
Yeah.
them to stay and talk to them. But it's not intended to build a relationship. It's intended to influence people towards you.
Ah.
So it's a lot of fun in getting to know and understand these themes of talent, but also getting to understand yourself
No,
through
no,
the
wait. Now,
report.
as a society, I feel like you'll know best. When did this shift happen? Because I feel like back in the day with our parents, grandparents, you had one job, whether you liked it or not, stuck with it. You got your pension, you work hard, you work to the end. And then, like, I just realized it all kind of after COVID because I feel like everyone had no choice but to change. But I'm assuming
Right.
this has been happening more and more that people are really realizing that the value of their health, mental well being sometimes is a lot more about than work. I think the way we used to think, right?
Yes, I think, well, there's so many different aspects or different layers to that question. One, I will say for sure, and one you mentioned is COVID. COVID did absolutely highlight meant the issues of mental health, but also the
Mm-hmm.
importance of balance and taking care of yourself and understanding what balance means to you. It also exposed people to a different way of working, that now we can work
Yeah.
from home. We can work, in a hybrid capacity. I can come in sometimes. Sometimes I can work from home. I can meet, and I do have clients from all over the
Yeah.
world, right? Because I am able to reach people in a much broader capacity virtually. But being able to do that also gave me a sense of how I want to show up at work. And when people had the opportunity to do so from their homes, they realized, wait, I can be more relaxed, more myself in my home environment. And now when I have to go back into the office, am I expected to do something, be something I'm not, or have to, show up in a way that people want to see me here at work? I really liked being myself and being comfortable, being able to work and still show up as myself. And so I think it's making people second guess. Individuals are just thinking, okay, I've been doing this for a really long time. And so COVID definitely gave us the sense that work-life balance is important. But now, of course, we have a lot of change happening since our new administration came in, and a lot of people are unfortunately losing their jobs. And as a result of that, they're starting to step back and think, wait a minute, do I need to continue to do this work in this space if this space may be completely unavailable to me? Like if I'm losing my job today because the work isn't happening anymore, then I may need to think about what new work looks like for me. And so it's a bit of a survival that people are feeling they're in. Like I want to set myself up to be in a situation that is secure and stable and not be vulnerable again. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And so I think that that's a big shift that's happening right now that's causing people to think about work differently.
Yeah, and taking care of our family as mothers, it's just, and fathers, people really, back in the day, the man worked, right? The woman did it, and now we have, two of us, everyone's working, and it's you got to try to balance all of that. It's hard, right? And then for a mom to lose her main career and then have to take on another career, do you help a lot of moms out there that have to transition into something else?
Yes, so I was a single mom myself, before meeting my husband when my children were 6 and 3, and
Mm,
but as a single mom, I too struggled. I know that struggle
yeah,
personally of having to work, having to make ends meet, to take care of myself, my household, and
mm-hmm,
my children, right? And that was my primary focus. I didn't have time to think about what I was good at or what I liked and what I might want to do. I had to think about how I could make a living.
yeah,
But that once I started to really step into the work in HR, I realized, wow, I really enjoy this work. I can do work that I enjoy and make a living and, pay the bills and thrive in both areas of my life. And that was the first experience that I had with that. So, matter of fact, after getting married, I had another child, right? And a third child and completed actually my college degree 2 weeks after he was born. So I
Wow.
can tell you that, coming back into the workforce with a newborn and a new college degree and wanting to be successful, I was very ambitious at the time. I really had to put myself out there in ways that would allow people to see me as someone who could do the work and was committed to it, and that I wanted to grow. That I know I just had a baby, but I actually want this promotion. I remember applying for a promotion while I was home on maternity leave and them going, "What's going on?" I said, "Hey, I want this, and I'm coming back and I'm qualified and I'd like to be considered." And I
Yeah.
was, and I did get the promotion shortly after I returned. So yes, I work with a lot of women who are in that space of, I've just had a child. I've never worked and been a mother before.
Yeah.
And how is this going to affect my career?
Yeah.
And so I'm always there to tell them, well, it doesn't have to affect your career unless you want it to, right? But the decision can be yours.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you approach it and how you set the expectations for others. But it's not, and by that, I don't mean overworking and killing ourselves so that people can see that we're just as good as others. I mean, actually advocating for ourselves, right?
Beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
something that has been really challenging for us as women to do, working mothers to do, but really stating firmly the things that you want and going after it and letting your work and your ambition lead the way.
Beautifully said. All right. We still got 5 more minutes left, darling. I want to make sure we're using our time wisely and would love to, what else did you want to share with us?
Yeah, I just want what I want to share and make sure that I get across to folks more than anything, right? Is that um, you're not alone and you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to go it alone. Everyone needs a partner at times in their life, someone that they can confide in and talk to, but also who has experience that can help to hold them accountable, create goals with
Yeah.
them, and then set a path forward to achieve those goals. And that's what the coaching work that I do is really all about. It's about saying, okay, what's our goal? Where do you want to be? Where are you today? What's the gap? And how do we fill it? Right? And together we work towards filling that gap so that you can achieve those goals. I'm here to hold folks accountable. My style and my approach is very direct. I give honest feedback, but
Mm-hmm.
I like to say that I'm direct but yet compassionate, that I'm also here to listen. I will always listen. I tell my husband asked me the other day, do you find that in your work that you're listening more than you're talking or you're talking more
Uh-huh.
than you're listening? And I said, I'm definitely listening most of the time. This is the most you'll ever hear me talk, right?
Ah,
But when we're working together,
it's you, baby. It's you.
when
Yep.
you're my client, right? It's all about
Yes.
the client. It's all about you. I'm here for you. So I show up and I listen because I need to understand what it is that you're really saying, sometimes what it is that you're not saying, right? And I need to be able to pick up on the things that are most important so that I can help you to see what is hard for you to see in yourself. I can draw that out of you, right? So that I know what questions to ask
Mm,
um, that are really going to help turn on the light for you. And then the work is is up to you, right?
yeah.
We can set goals and plans together all day in our sessions, but the real work happens in between our sessions,
Yeah.
right? That's when you go off and you put it into practice to create the change that you really are seeking.
Got it. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to speak with you and to have you
Mm.
here on the show, inspiring so many. Would you mind sharing how we can contact you directly, please?
Absolutely. So please, if you're interested in speaking with me about coaching, feel free to reach out to me at Marian, Marian, at coloryourstrengths.com. My website is coloryourstrengths.com, and I will always make myself available for a free consultation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you here. What are you doing the rest of the day? Anything exciting? Got a lot of work going
Packing for
on.
Singapore.
Wait, what? Oh my! I was there like 15 years ago. This is obviously is this
What?
a amazing trip?
Yes, yes.
Oh, God
I'm
bless you. How
excited
long you
to
going
be going
for?
for 9 days.
Oh my
Myself
goodness.
and my husband.
Enjoy. When do you leave?
Thank you. We leave Friday morning
Wow. So without the kids?
without the kids, just the
God
two of
bless
us.
you.
Yeah.
Enjoy. We'll talk soon. Wow.
Thanks so much, Jill.
You're
Good to
welcome.
be
Have a
with
great
you.
day. Don't work too
All
hard.
right, you
Enjoy.
too.
Bye, honey.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.